He's destined to succeed. Perfection is the enemy of profitability, right?
How is it when a person like you, is it still easy to make friends now?
Yeah,
is
but
it
I'm
more
not out there, at this
association, or-
point, I'm not out there looking, I don't need any new running buddies. I mean, my high school buddies are still my friends, my college buddies,
Got
my
it.
rugby buddies. The guys when I first came to Dallas that were my friends then are my friends now. I've got 3 kids, so it's more, my family just takes up so much of my time along with business. So I'm not, and even back in the day when I was single, I was still successful. I could tell the gold diggers from the real friends. I mean, it was pretty easy.
Got it. Did association play a big role with you, or not really?
No,
Not really for you.
Yeah,
Because you were so determined, it didn't matter. Nobody could influence you, influence other people.
Yeah, I just went and did my thing.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Couple words I'll just put out there. I want to see what you think about it, because I watch you and I watch some of these other guys, and I see a sense of paranoia. And I don't know if you read the book, Only the Paranoid Survive.
Yeah,
I don't know if
but
it
I'm
was
familiar with
10,
it,
20 years. Great book that was written. Do you think there needs to be a healthy level of paranoia?
Oh, absolutely.
There needs to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I always say, for every one of my businesses, I said, what would I do to kick my own ass? Right? So whatever business you have, there's somebody trying to put you out of business. There's somebody trying to take a bite out of your business. And it's better for you to figure out how they're going to do it rather than they do it. And so, yeah, that's being paranoid. And so you have to be paranoid. You have to anticipate other people's next moves, and you can't ever, downplay the competition. I was I was at a business plan competition this morning at a college, and they were kind of being dismissive of the competition. And so you can't ever do that. They're out there trying to take you down, and they're not just going to sit still. And if you're good, really, really good, you're going to inspire them to work even harder, faster, better. And so you have to be, very self-aware of what you're good at and what other people are good at. And, a healthy dose of paranoia makes a bit difference. Is very helpful.
So that's interesting you say that. So sometimes, you're being a little bit too paranoid, you're being too concerned about this, too concerned about that. The other question for you would be, Mark, you don't run one company. You run many companies. You're doing deals all the time. And there's this notion that you hear multitasking, right? You can't multitask, you can't do this. So your brain, if I were to take 100%, I'll get 10% here, 7% here, 6% here. How do you process all of it here in your mind with the different
That happens
responsibilities
to be something
you have?
I'm really good at, right? I process things very quickly, and that's always been my strength. I can identify what's going on typically faster than anybody and grind right through it. And plus, because I force everybody to email or Cyberdust, it's all coming from one flow, right? It's all one funnel. And so I'm not bouncing from meeting to meeting thinking, okay, what did we say in that meeting? We're having to take notes, and then we're having somebody take notes. It's like, it's already in writing, it's in an email, and if it's in Cyberdust, it's like having a face-to-face. And when I see it, I respond to it immediately. Cyberdust forced me to respond to it immediately. And so that allows me to keep things organized and stay on top of things. And, anything that's unread, that's my to-do list, and that's how I stay on top of it.
Got it. I've become a fanatic Cyberdust. There's every other hour I'm checking Cyber. When you told me, go check out Cyberdust, and then from there, we got everybody on the company. Now everyone out here, the only way you're going to get to see this first, you got to go on Cyberdust. And I'm going to put the link out. We'll do one on mentions to get everybody on there. But I love the product, and we'll get to that because I want to explain how I see Cyberdust, not as a CEO, as a customer, because I want people to see how I see it as a customer. Let's talk about speed. When people ask me and say, hey, how do I get speed going? I want to see your perspective on this, because Cyberdust has a tipping point. You got Twitter has a tipping point. Facebook had it. Everything is about the tipping point. In your mind, how does one entrepreneur increase the speed in areas that they can increase? There's certain things you can't control.
Speed in what way?
Speed of growing your business.
All right.
So how fast can I grow it?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. You've got to know your own skill set, right? And you've got to know how that fits within your company's life cycle. Some companies are slow grind, and you just have to understand that, and you've just got to bide your time until it starts to click, and then grow with it quickly. If you're trying to release a product that needs to be ubiquitous, you've got to go as fast as you can, and then
release a product, like a launch.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who will say, perfection is the enemy of profitability, right? And that doesn't mean you have to wait till it's a perfect product. You know, CyberDust is a perfect example. We still haven't, it's been almost 2 years. We still haven't advertised it yet because we know it's not ready yet, you know, and so it's been a slow growth grind because we want feedback, you know, we want to keep on learning. We're evolving. But it really just depends on what the product is. It, you know, a barbershop, right? Is it an app? Is it a service? Is it a product? But, you know, the key is looking for the low-hanging fruit. What customers are willing to write you a check or commit to it, you know, so that they're willing to integrate it into their daily lives or integrate it into their daily business. And so getting a commitment either through time or revenue is typically what I look for. And so if I can get a commitment, then I'm going to be able to learn. I'm going to see how they use it. Do they sustain usage? And then once I get the next one, you know, hopefully it came a little bit faster than the first one. Then I can ask for referrals, and then the next one, then the next one, and I just try to ramp it up. You know, when I bought the Mavs, we had no season ticket holder base. And so literally it was a matter of just putting a list of former season ticket holders in a white pages back then, you know, on my desk next to my phone and making phone calls.
You?
Yeah, me. Yeah, because if I'm not going to do it, how can I expect someone else to do it, right? So just get on the phone. Hey, this is Mark Cuban. I'm the new owner of the Dallas Mavericks. You know, I'd like to invite you back for again. It's not though. This is my business.
But you can't get regular sales guys or something to make those calls once they get to a quarter. You're a guy that's a billionaire. You're making those calls.
But that's all, you know, and that's fine and good, right? Because everybody's got their own goals, right? But still, I don't want anybody at the Mavs to be able to say, well, he's not willing to do the work, right? There's, you know, if I walk around, I'm picking up all the papers. I'm not saying go get that picked up. I'm like, okay, that's trash. I'm picking it up. But in terms of speed of growth, it's really, you got to get that first customer first. And then when you get that first, what did you learn? Reiterate, get that next customer. And then hopefully as you learn more and more through the process, then the next one comes by even faster.
You know, it's interesting when we walked in here, and I appreciate that on the speed side. When we walked in here, typically when I want to know how it is to work for somebody, you got to ask people around them. Right? You can't ask the person how's it to work for you. You can't ever get the right answer. So I asked the security guy, this guy said, oh, you know, Mark comes, he's going to say hi to everybody. He's going to do this, he's going to do that. And they were all like fans. They love working.
That's because we have cameras and microphones.
So they see all their work on what they're doing. That's classic. That's classic. Okay, let's transition to a different subject. Let me see the time. Okay, let's transition to a different subject with college. You went to IU, right? Now, you got a lot of people that say, forget about school. You know, they're drop idiots. Out of school. They're idiots. So you think they're idiots. Tell me why.
If you're going to have and run a business, if you don't understand accounting, you're already behind the 8 ball.
Can't you hire a guy that knows how to run
accounting? But then they still have to communicate to you. Right? I mean, there's people that don't understand the concept of, you know, the difference between profits and cash. You know, oh, your accountant might tell you you're profitable, but your cash is going down. You know, not understanding a breakdown. And when you don't,
you think you need college to learn that?
Yeah, I think you do, right? Because it may not, for some people, look, if you're so self-motivated that you can take an online course in accounting and teach yourself everything, you're way ahead of the game anyways. But most people aren't. And I'm not saying you have to go to Indiana. I'm not saying go to an expensive school. I don't care if you go to a community college and take accounting and spend $99 for the class. Just, you know, spending the money forces you to be more obligated to do it. But accounting, finance, lesser extent marketing, sales if the school offers that. These are all that's the language of business. And so while it's possible to teach yourself these things and while it's possible to hire them, when you're starting your own company, you don't want to have to spend money hiring an accountant, right? You're already probably going to have to hire a lawyer to set up your. Well, let me take that. If you've gone through all these classes, you probably don't have to hire a lawyer to incorporate, right? You can probably figure out yourself. And so your cost of opening up a business drops. But even more important than all that, that's the blocking and tackling. That's the language of business. You know, the thing I learned at Indiana that was more important than anything else, I learned how to learn. And learning became far more important to me because the one certainty in business is that it's always going to be changing. If you're not always learning, to this minute, if I'm not continuously learning, if I'm not just absorbing as much as I can absorb, someone else is going to kick my ass, right? So you talk about paranoia. The greatest source of your paranoia should be knowledge. If someone else knows more than you do, and if you're not learning, if you don't know how to learn, if you don't have a thirst for learning and acquiring information, you're SOL.